Hey everybody, so in this final video, we're going to go through, I hope final video, maybe one more, hopefully final video, I'll try and be quick. We're going to go through creating a drawing from the sketch. We designed all these things out, now we actually want to have a very accessible guide to how to cut out these pieces, like what pieces we need to cut, what angles we need to cut, all of that stuff. So let's get started with this. Okay, we have our design here. The very first thing you should do is go through and label all of your different all the different bodies that you have here. So make sure each one has an individual name. Once you have that done, I'll give it a quick second to do that. Okay, now we're going to go back, so you can pause if you haven't done that yet. We're going to go back into here and we are going to create components from each one of these bodies. So I'm going to just right click on here. I'm going to say create component from body. I'm going to go through this and do this. And basically a component, for our purposes, a component and a body are going to be exactly the same thing. The difference is, if you're doing something more complicated, we might do a component that is made up of a few pieces. Oh, I'm actually thinking a way we could do this here, but I think I'm not going to bother right now. Maybe we'll talk a little bit at the end about how we can do this differently, but I'm just going to leave this for now because I think this is going to work out the best. Anyway, so I have components from all my bodies down here, and now we're going to start creating a drawing. So there's two ways I can access the drawing menu. I can go down to drawing in the design. If I select design, some other options we can do in here. We can do drawing from design, or we can right click on here and say create drawing, and we'll get a little pop-up window on the right side over here. Make sure we can still see it. Great. We're going to do full assembly. We clicked from here, so it's going to get the full assembly. We need to drawing. Only options should be, for you, probably the only option will be create new. For mine, I was messing around with this a little bit, so I already have a drawing to mess with. But we're also going to go down here and we're going to select, it should be by default sheet size B. That's going to be like one of those really large pieces of paper. It's maybe a good idea to print on because we just have more space, but I think for ease of printing, I don't trust GAN copiers. It might be better to just do it on A because I think we can reliably print that. So I'm going to select A here and hit OK. This is going to, might take a second. Sometimes this drawing takes a second for me to load, but it's been actually pretty quick today. But I'm going to, this is going to give us a base view of our design. So I'm going to put this just kind of right in the center. I have a bunch of options over here. I think for right now, my orientation, I'm just going to choose the front. There's a lot of different things we can mess around with on here. I think this is totally fine for me. I'm going to change my scale options to 1 to 10. Okay, I think that's okay for now. I'd really like to make this thing a little bit smaller. It's cool and all, but anyways. Another thing I might want to do just on this base design, we're going to get into the more detailed parts here in just a second, but I might want to project this, which means I can look at it from different views. If I hit P on my, or it looks like my projected view up here, I can click this, and then depending on what direction I select, if I select above, below, left, or right, we're going to get a different view from what we currently have. So we could set this off to the right, and now we're getting a side view, like we twisted the entire, we twisted the library to the side, or put it on the other side, we twisted the library that way. We could put it this way, in which case we're looking down on the top of our library, or we could also do these kind of cool orthogonal views looking at it from an angle. So I'm going to choose these, and then I'm going to drag this little sucker down here, put this over here. This doesn't really matter so much. It is helpful to just kind of have a view of what we're going to do, but it's not ultimately the biggest deal for right now because I don't think we can really draw. I mean, this is helpful, but good to have an overview, but not going to help us really with our cuts, which is what we're looking for. I'm going to save this because I want to make sure I kind of keep saving as I go. But now we want to get into the real interesting parts here, where we're going to go into the library design. So we'll go back to our design, to our other tab up here. We're going to look down into the left side and we're going to find our components. We'll find our first component. I'm going to select back wall. It's the first one for me. Yours might be different. I'm going to select back wall and I'm going to say create drawing. All right, so now we get some choices that we can make in here. We're going to select the contents to be, we still have an alarm going off. Components just going to be this thing. Drawing, instead of saying we're not going to create a new drawing, we want to add on to the drawing that's already there. And we could add to the sheet, we could add to like the first page, or we could make a new sheet. That first sheet's pretty full up, so let's create a new sheet in here and we'll hit OK. And now we can place this thing in here. And we can get the front view, I think probably makes the most sense for this. All of this stuff seems like it's fine. The beauty of this comes now when we can go into dimensions, and we can hit D for dimension, same way we could for anything else, and we can start selecting in, we can start identifying some lengths. And actually some of these things I don't really care about. I actually don't care about this number because I'm not going to measure this length. When I cut this piece of wood, I'm probably going to cut a board that's 23.5 by 15, and then I need to cut along this angle. So I really need to know like what these angles are. So I'm going to hit dimension on that. I think I can select the side here, and then if I select the side over here, I'm going to get that 94.85, which we'll see if we can get that figured out on the table saw. We're going to get that fit into there. We could also, I think, rather over dimension than under dimension. So I'm going to select this one over here, although I could probably do some math. These are, what are these? Consecutive interior angles, so they should add to 180. We can also drag this whole thing around wherever we want. We can drag these values in here, so we can get maybe a little tighter thing in here, so we can start adding in some more pieces. But this is really the beauty of doing this and getting all of our parts to really be fully designed out in here. And maybe you can play around with those parts and get all the angles just right. We have the back wall. We could make this like the wall page. So we're gonna do that as the back wall. We're gonna go over to this design. We could also select then, we could do the right wall. I wonder if we could like, well, you guys might want to play around with this, especially if you get ahead. But we could do like the left wall. I'm thinking we could probably select a few different parts. But anyways, or maybe not, we'll see. We're gonna still add this to the drawing. In this case, we don't want to create a new sheet, we want to add it to the existing sheet, and we hit OK. We get this wall in here. Now in this case, we really don't want front view, we want like left view. And in here, oh, actually we want this one, we want a little bit of both, because if you think about it, if you remember, this is the angled cut across the top. This is the one, this is our left side. Again, I'm trying not to make this video too long, but let's hide some of these planar box features. And let's even hide let's hide the roof. If you recall, we cut this, and maybe even if we get rid of like the door jamb, get rid of all the parts of our door. Here are some sketches too, but you can see that this one is actually at an angle. This left side and this right side are at an angle. So these are some things you're gonna have to think about. Like Fusion's not gonna do everything for you. We'll have to think some of these things through. So let's do that. We can also do projection on this to think about this being from the front, but we can still go into here and we can do dimensions. Like this is pretty straightforward as far as our dimensions. Ooh, but it's going to be a little bit tricky because actually on one side it's 12, on the other side it's going to be 13. Okay, and I really want to, but what I really want to get, what's going to be most important here is I need to get this angle. I need to get this side and this side. Okay, that looks good to me. I know it should be less than 90. A little geometry time in here. It should be at 85. As our angle on here. I have a little bit of trouble dragging this around. I think you can play around with that. You should be able to get these angles to drag. There we go. Maybe grabbing that little point there helped. I thought I did that before, huh? Anyways, there we go. So actually, in this case, like some of these angles, I don't care about this side here. I don't care that this is 12.4. I mean, it's kind of useful, but really what I want to do is I'm going to cut a piece that's 13 inches long, and then I'm going to cut that little angle out of it. It's gonna be some tricky work here. Let's see over here. So like maybe for this, when I do dimensions, I'm just gonna select the very top, and then I'm gonna select the very bottom and get that 13 value out of there. But I need to be aware, like again, this is not gonna do it for you. I need to be aware that there's gonna be a slight angled cut on here. Probably what I could do on this one, I could cut a board that's 12 by 13, and then I'll run it through the table saw a little bit later at a slight angle to carve off that little piece here. And we'll have to repeat that same process. Let's see how we're doing on time. Video's going a little bit long. So I think I'm going to stop it pretty close to there. Let's see if there's any other points that would really be an issue. Honestly, I think the walls are going to be the most difficult ones. Like this one is probably, let's see, which ones are going to be difficult? Anything that's at an angle is going to just be a little bit difficult. We got to work that one through. So like left wall and right wall are going to be difficult. Roof shouldn't be, well, roof might have a little bit of an angle to it. We got a lot of angles in here, but like planar, the easiest ones are gonna be like our planar box face, back, left, right, because those are all our entity square. Oh boy, we're gonna be doing a lot of angled cuts. You guys are gonna be experts at angled cuts in here. Because I think a lot of these pieces, we're gonna have a lot of angled cuts. Oh, that's gonna be a fun time at the table saw. Oh, so many things are angled. Well, that will be a time for us. So anyways, we want to really get into our drawings and just make sure that we have each piece laid out in here. We're going to print these things out and I want to go over them and we'll put some notes on here and then we'll get ready to actually get in and start cutting. So, okay, that's up next.